Since 1954, Terrebonne General has been a beacon of health and hope in our community. As we mark 7 decades of dedication to your well-being, Terrebonne General Health System remains committed to advancing healthcare, improving lives, and expanding our services to meet your evolving needs. In celebrating our past, we look forward to a future filled with promise and progress. Your health is our legacy. To discover more, visit tghealthsystem.com.
All right, welcome back to Bayou Time. I'm Martin Foss. It's time now to sit down with the council chair, Mr. John Amadei, who's also councilman in District 4. But of course, he goes over the agendas when the meetings are coming up, and we like to talk about various parts of the meeting. So, John, good to see you again.
It's been a short week, but it's good to be back.
All right, let's talk about a few things. Maybe let's start with debris cleanup. There's been debris cleanup before, some of the bayous, but y'all sort of extended it. Is it going a little deeper this time?
Well, Martin, what this is, when Hurricane Ida came through, we had money through FEMA to go through and clean some of the trees out of the bayou, and they identified particular trees. This time with Hurricane Francine, we're able to get some funding to be recently approved. So now what we're going to do is we're going to assign an engineering firm to this, and we're going to let them go out and assess the areas. We're going to give them a direction, Bayou Terrebonne, St. Louis Bayou, some others. One of the problems we had last time is they were clearing trees, but they weren't catching other debris because it was specifically written as trees, from what I understand. This time we're doing it a little bit broader fashion so that we can clean up brush and other things that are in there. I know in some areas I still see people's carports still in the bayous, but
why don't they just say debris?
yeah, I mean, that would make more sense to me, just like we do on the side of the roads. Do the same thing with the bayous. Of course, some people would argue, well, you know, a sunken boat is debris, but it's a sunken boat, takes on a different issue, a different liability, I guess.
Then I guess if you clear their debris, they'll come back and say it was a working boat.
Yeah, and then, you know, federal government, you have to really understand their language when dealing with them so that you make sure that you're doing it, especially the way that they're allowing it, so they don't come back and charge you back.
Who does all that interpretation? Is that the engineer's job when they look at it?
What we do is we try to hire those consultants that understand that terminology that the federal government is using, because it doesn't always match the terminology of the people here. So that's why you'll see when we hired people like Royal Engineers to come in, it's because they had the experience of dealing with FEMA. All South Engineers had some experience dealing with FEMA. That's why you see entities using those, and there are others out there as well. And it's just important to get it all right, because if not, then they'll come back after you for the money.
Gotcha. Okay. So that will start when? Is there a specific time?
What we're doing this week is we're just assigning it to All South Engineers, and then they're going to get started on that assessment. So I'm not sure what the whole time frame before they actually get in the bayous doing that will be, but I would think in the next couple of months we'll start seeing movement on that.
Okay. And I guess they have to assess too, there's probably a lot of stuff in the bottom that a lot of people haven't seen for years.
Well, I can tell you we have that project to go through and clean out Bayou Terrebonne from the intercoastal all the way to Thibodeau city line, and they're going to find Lord knows what when they go through there. We're not really digging it deep, but I'm sure there's some stuff down in the mud that we'll find.
Yeah, who gets the treasure chest if they find it?
Good question.
Does the parish get it for hiring them, or does the contractor get it for doing it?
They would have to see. Normally in contracts, the owner has first right of refusal, so
all right,
we'll see how that goes.
That could pay for the parish for a long time. All right, community development. I know that's a big deal.
Right. So in our community development committee, one of the things we're going to be talking about is authorizing the parish president to sign the low-income home energy assistance program. That's something that we have going on yearly. It's done through Kelly Venardo's department. And what this does is it's just under $1 million, $994,000 to help people improve their homes to be more energy efficient. A lot of times you have drafty windows, not enough attic insulation, those types of things, so they can go in there, apply for these grants, get this work done and then lower their light bills.
Is there a limit on those grants, or do you?
You know, Martin, I really don't know what the limits are. I know it's income related, but as far as how much each grant is, I'd have to go back and check. I'm sure there is a dollar amount, because what we try to do is help as many as we can.
Right.
So if you see those Terrebonne Parish trucks with the cargo trailers trailing behind them, those guys are the crews that go out and do that kind of work.
Sometimes I've seen 10,000 given to home, sometimes 25,000, but I'll ask Kelly that question.
When she comes on, she can fill you in on all the details. We're just authorizing them to basically sign that agreement, get that money, and then from there they can get to work with it.
What do? They like fix caulking around the windows and the doors?
Well, sometimes they'll change the windows. You know, if you have single pane windows, they put low E windows in for energy efficiency. You know, if you have little or no insulation in your attic, they can go in there and insulate your attic. Whatever cracks and stuff they see, they could caulk those and just try to keep that envelope of the home secured, so that way you're not losing any of your energy, and you're able to stay on top of it.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's do this. We'll take the break on this end, Jay, and we'll have an extra 30 seconds or so in the second tier, and we'll talk about CBDG, DR. We'll talk about some other things with the council chair, John Amedee. Don't go away.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
All right, we're back. We're talking about the council agenda with John Amedee, Councilman District 4, but council chair here in Terrebonne Parish. And John, one of the big items we hear quite a bit about is CBDG. And y'all are talking about the DR portion of it this Wednesday?
Yeah, so we're looking to get an update on the application process, because the applications were supposed to be completed by November 30th. So we want to know where we stood, where we're at on some of those things. This is at $117 million for economic development and infrastructure and resiliency. We've had it on quite a bit lately, and so what they're telling us and what they're going to report to us is that they've got some of these approved, and I'll go over the list here, and they have some they filed for extensions. So filing for extensions is the jail relocation, Finding Our Roots Museum, support the seafood industry phase 3. That's done in several phases. Head Start classroom and the Grand Caillou pump station. Those are projects that I'm assuming they're still waiting for some information to get all of that run through to finish those applications.
And just for total transparency, I want to let everybody know Finding Our Roots involves this building that we're sitting in, because they would take over this building. We would move next door and revitalize 2 or 3 buildings. So just want public to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And, businesses are always looking to do certain things and help others out. As of the 12th of December, we have a list of 7 of these projects that have been approved. One that I've been watching closely is the Geraldine Pump Station out in Gibson. That's always been an area of concern for flooding in that area. It drains out the Bayou, the Chacahula Basin, which drains most of Schriever and Thibodaux and all that water that's dumping on top of us. So that's going to conclude the pumping capacity that's needed there, according to the Corps of Engineers. The support the seafood industry phase 1, that application has been approved. The Bayou Terrebonne pump station, that one has been approved. That's going to be helpful in controlling flooding coming down the bayou, especially once we get it cleaned out and open up all that capacity.
What about all the other projects? They got a lot of projects on Main Street that they've talked about. Can you give me some of those?
I don't have the very specifics. It's all categorized under the Main Street Improvement Project. So that one has been approved. We've got stormwater, wastewater, and then the Fletcher Aviation Program, unmanned flights and some of the technology that's new and working with the oil field and stuff like that. So I don't have the Main Street program spelled out as to each individual one. It was put together as a group, but the group's been approved, so
Okay.
that should be good.
Yeah. Do they have breakdowns on each one as y'all? Because does the council vote on that, or do they just get informed on that?
The council votes to approve those things going forward. What we're looking for in this update are dollar amounts. So how much money's been, because going in, we had an estimate, but once the application goes in, then with that application, they have to put a more definitive number. And the information they sent us was just that these were approved, so we're asking for those numbers, and that's what we're going to find out on Wednesday night.
Okay. Anything else that we need to know moving forward? Of course, we got a new year coming up. What's on the wish list if we had to pick things around the parish?
One of the things that we're really looking at is maintenance throughout the parish, grass cutting, ditches, our lateral ditches, doing a lot of work. So that's one of the big items that we're working with administration on for next year, is to address all those lateral ditches. The Bayou Terrebonne project, we're hoping that right after the first of the year, that can be boots on the ground going, getting that started. Just removing, we talked about sunken boats and stuff, getting that cleaned up again. And anything else that we can do to bring industry back into the parish. So one of the big things that we're going to be looking at in the next year, of course, is the tax reform package and how that's going to affect us and what we need to do to make adjustments for the changes that the state just recently approved. And what I'm hearing is going to have to make a few corrections, so we'll see how that's going to be approved. What we're looking at right now is the constitutional amendments that are going to be coming up at the end of March. Which of the bills that they passed are tied to those and which go into effect right now. For instance, the sales tax increase for the state to 5%, that's now. It's not attached to the rewrite of the Constitution. So we're currently doing that. I know Beryl's been working hard on trying to put something together that she can pass out based off of the information that they have. And I think that'll help all the different departments, because we have a lot of fire districts, recreation districts that are going to be affected by that. So as soon as we can get something to calm their fears, that there's a plan and something in action to keep them solid and whole, I think it'll be good for everybody. But it's something that's pretty complicated to weed through. It's almost like reading fire code or construction code. You look at one area and then, okay, now from that area it references this area and then it references that area. So you have to put all the pieces together in order to get a full understanding of it. So we're trying to get on it early, not wait till last minute, not rely on others to tell us. So that way, when it all comes down, we'll be ready to hit the ground running.
Yeah, I imagine some of those legislators, like your wife, probably used to the extra time they spent in Baton Rouge.
Yeah. Since John Bell was in there, and he gave them a lot of practice on these special sessions. So the new freshmen this year are getting a lesson on it, and the older guys are just kind of worn out from it.
Yeah, that's one thing that you don't really get paid a whole lot of money for those extra sessions, right?
You get paid your per diem. Legislators get an annual amount. They get another account that they can spend on. But I tell them, I said, it's only your own fault. Y'all are too scared to ask for a raise. They haven't asked for a raise since 1991. And I said, so don't complain about what you allow.
All right. John, good seeing you again. Thank you. We'll see you on the next trip around.
All right. Thanks, Martin.
All right. Once again, John Omni, Council Chair here. We'll see you next time we talk about the council.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.